Zone Ads, World of Local Business Info.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, today my topic of presentation is orientation on recent trends in speech therapeutics intervention for autism. Frankly speaking, the topic itself is a very much huge and vast topic. I don't think half an hour will be enough, but whatever my level best, I will try to give valid inputs so that it has to be helpful for every clinician to practice on autism. Before going to, let us know about the autism a little bit. Everyone knows, in fact, but the way of describing the autism, in my perspective, ASD is a developmental disability caused by differences in the brain. So many parents, they get worried once they listen to the term autism, they really becomes panicked. But very confidently you have to explain, it is not a physiological problem, neurological aspects got disturbed in the brain, that's why child has developed autism. And here question is whether it is a congenital aspect or acquired aspect. So we have to be very confident. During after birth, it never slowly the autistic spectrum disorders acquires based on the differences occurs in the brain. Functional differences occurs in the brain. And ASD even describes a group of neurodevelopmental conditions that becomes evident during early childhood. This is what we have to explain the parents repeatedly. Because they don't know autism and they keep expecting a larger amount of improvements in the child, and it is the condition which is completely irreversible. So that factor also we have to very keenly explain the parent, otherwise they will get, means already they will be into the panic, but a lifetime depression will come if once we make them understand in a different way. The people with ASD often have problems with the social communication and interaction, restricted and or repetitive behaviors. We all know, okay, these three segments are the major aspects of the autism, and at times ASD sometimes may have different way of learning. That's why we do tell autistics are very much smart in learning in different methods, not like a general methods. How we all will learn in that specific way, they can't learn. Very different way, mobility will be different, their way of observing, their way of thinking, everything will be different in autistics. So that's why every clinician, before going to start therapy, let you observe for 15 to 20 days. Then you will understand the mechanism of their way of their behavior, their way of thinking, and at what level we have to start the therapy. And these characteristics which really make ASD's life very challenging. So generally, we should know the timeline, how ASD looks like from the birth. Very important, many of us have a pro forma. Whenever an autistic patient comes to us, a lot of information, lot of history we take from the parents. But we should know how they looks from the birth to till about 60 months period, which is very important information I want to share with you all. From birth, really faces the trouble in maintaining eye contact. Okay, no one, we don't expect, any proper eye contact during the birth, but at least after 2 months, easily we can expect a proper eye contact when we are looking at them, whether they are looking at us or not. Similarly, around 8 to 9 months, they never try to respond towards the name call. It is a major significant characteristic symptom to diagnose autism. Okay, even any other neurodevelopmental delay cases also, they do the same, but especially autistics, they never try to respond towards the name call. And even not displaying a proper facial expressions reflective of their emotions like surprise, anger, happiness, sadness. Okay, always we see similar face where we can see in the Parkinsonism also. In neurodegenerative disease also, similar facial expressions we see like autistics. Around 12 months age, they never try to engage in basic interactive games like throw the ball, look at the ball, okay, see the ball size, okay, nothing, okay, they will be into their own world. Around 15 months, they never try to share their interests or feeling with others Already I have mentioned around 8 to 9 months they never show any expressions on the face. Similarly, they never try to show their interest or feeling with others. For example, showing someone a favorite toy or requesting or urging for a toy. These kind of feelings also, it won't appear in them. Around 18 months, they fail to pointing or looking where others are pointing. Around 24 months, okay, they never try to notice when others appear sad or hurt. Okay, this is very important factor because we generally would tell emotional quotient. We see very poor emotional quotient in them because of their own differences, whatever happened in the brain level. Around 30 months age, they never engage in pretend play like caring for a baby doll or teddy bear. They never try to pretend. Around 60 months, the 5 years age, not playing turn-taking games like, okay, so many turn-taking games are there, but they never try to attend any one of them. And apart from that, in addition, autistic children might have trouble in expressing their feelings or understanding those of others starting at 36 months, around 3 years age. So before going to few repetitive and special behaviors of ASDs, how it looks like, so let me come to the therapeutic part. So till now I have shared my information with you all related to diagnostics and how the characteristics in the autistics in early childhood, later on how it will turn difficulties. Ready? So whenever we see the autistic child, the first priority we have to speak very transparently, clearly, and we have to share the entire information related to child, and we have to counsel very patiently to the parents of the autistics. Otherwise, they generally Google. We all know, we search in the Google, whatever autism term, if they search, lots of pages and pages information they will get. Okay, we never entertain, we should not entertain the parents to put all the information in front of us, because every individual autistic kids differs. So based on their potential, their abilities, or the abilities already attained, they lost the abilities, based on that, the information, assessment, observation, everything should depend. And I always do tell the knowledge itself a revolution. And if we have a thorough knowledge only, then we try to dare to take the autistic kids. Okay, we should have a lot of patience and we should have proper emotional, physical, mental health. Otherwise, it's quite difficult to take up a therapy for them. Because meanwhile, the parents always keep disturbing us related to asking meaningless doubts. Okay, they already a complex communication disorder, but they expect their child to have a like Vivekananda, how he gave a speech at Chicago. Okay, it means every time we have to make them understand the reality rather than false assumption. So, why I told proper knowledge we should have, because the steps we have to make or the therapeutic plan we have to make for them, it should not confuse us after looking at their progress or regression. Both the things. Even we have to estimate their regression also. Not always you have to be in the progress, because multiple ways the progress will depends. So that's why multi-sensory mechanism, it helps for them. Not a single sense, we are working on eye contact and after a few days it will disappear. So we never try to work on eye contact. We have to try to work on a neural attention or attention span. It is a bigger aspect, it is a neurological aspect. Eye contact, it is a stick to only eye, okay, optic area. So always you have to figure out, looking at them, looking at their behavior, restlessness, everything, it gives us a key information how much therapeutic plan we have to prepare. And it definitely differs individual to individual. It's not that I have given a therapist to some autistic kid and you have followed, same technique you are following, it never helps. We have to get a thought after looking at their pattern. So that thought itself gives such a broad idea how we have to prepare a therapy plan. And for autistics, short-term goal never works, always a long-term goal. The long-term goal, why? Because many abilities comes and disappears in front of us while providing a proper valuable therapy also. At that time, we have to be more patient. We should not feel bad. Yesterday we have seen some ability and today it got disappeared. We should not feel like that. We have to work on that in double impact so that we don't know how their perception is there. Okay, we keep an eye on their perception, how they are perceiving and how they are restoring the information in their brain. And later, if we check, if we examine, the ability should appear. So that's why, in that way, the plan should be there. So that's why I don't want to tell my experiences to autistics, because those whatever experiences I have, it may not work with you all. Okay, you have to think before you start the therapy, because it again, you are autistic, whomever you are seeing the autism cases, so definitely you should prepare about thoroughly with your plan. So if I'm seeing an autistic kid at around 5 years age, they may have a moderate level IQ level, but moderate level of IQ, and you are seeing at the age 2 years age. So obviously their IQ level will be much more. Slowly regression happens, not all the instantly, it never happens. And few repetitive what I earlier have mentioned. So repetitive movements like rocking, flapping their arms, spinning or running back and forth, aligning objects like toys up in a strict order. In generally adults, if the same thing they do, we call them as a OCD. Okay, but in kids, we have to look into the autistic factor only. Getting upset when that order is disturbed, and they repeat the same for number of times. So that's why parents, they do continuous complaints about the way, the patterns of the autistics. That we have to consider. It's not that we are going to disturb the pattern, but how we can modify that pattern so that they should be adjustable easily. Repeating words or phrases, they hear someone say over and over again. And repeating, everyone knows, okay, echolalia is one of the major characteristic symptoms we see in the autistics. And getting upset over minor changes. Again, it comes under the same factor, lining objects, and they don't like any disorder, okay, disorientation or disorder kind of things. Focusing intensely on parts of objects like the wheel or the wheel of a toy truck. They generally, what are all the things very important for us, it may not be important for autistics. They are very specifically, they notice it which are least bothered for us, but very important for them, it seems like. But as they don't have a proper connectivity in the brain, it seems like they are into the completely involved in these kind of activities like looking at the wheels of the toy or wheels of the toy of the truck. Unusual reactions to sensory input like sounds, smell and taste is obsessive interest. That's what I always tell, we have to focus on hypersenses and hyposenses. So this is the aspect where hypersenses means we always see for a very simple reaction also, excessive reaction, very simple stimulus, they give excessive response. Whereas hyposense, continuous stimulus we give, but they never respond. So this also we have to take into consideration, and based on that our therapy plan we have to design. And unusual reactions to sensory inputs like sounds, what I told already, exceptional abilities like musical talent and painting capabilities. Okay, that's why even we quote sometimes, autistics are exceptional childs, having a special talent. Okay, because multi-sensory level presentations won't be there. Single, unilateral sense, unisense, okay, monotonous, unisense. That's why they can have a capacity or whatever their attention span, completely it will be illustrate on the special painting or kind of thing or musical talent, playing a keyboard like that. You will have to focus on few medical complaints which ASDs may have. It's not that every ASD should have, but at times, mainly seizures. Okay, by birth, after birth, few may develop the seizures or epileptic, but after 5 to 6 years, because continuously you have to feed neurally. This is very important thing I am telling now. if they are not getting a proper neural feedback, this seizure activity means electrophysiologically activity of brain will get disturbed and they may develop seizure and epilepsy. And we all know gastrointestinal symptoms like constipation and diarrhea. Okay, that's why we have designed season and gluten-free diet for them, because they have a lot of gastrointestinal problems, mainly metabolic issues. That's why we keep referring to nutritionist or dietitian, so that proper diet chart should be prepared for them. Okay, based on their way of digesting the foods like wheat protein or milk protein. Okay, how much quantity we can give. It's not that we are removing, because later on, if you once they addict to that milk protein or wheat protein, gluten kind of thing, they never means actually, if once the addiction factor happens, they will fight with us. They need that, because I told you about the hypersense. If once they addict to that kind of taste, they fight and they will feel kind of, means they need that. At whatever the circumstances may be, they need that kind of food. That's why slowly we have to give this kind of food. Slowly we have to make them habit. And excessive sweat or stress. Okay, this actually based on their restlessness. Okay, no proper sensory movement, means sensory reflexes are not proper. That's why bodily movement and motor reflex, motor domination, and all these will create excessive sweat or excessive stress in them. And next one, unusual levels of fear. Okay, they are very sensitive. That's why autistic parents, they look towards them like a fragile item. They feel like a fragile item. We should counsel very properly. They are not fragile. We have to feed them proper emotion, proper physical strength, everything, so that this unusual fear will go. Otherwise, as age grows, the fear thing also will grow, and they will run away like anything. They will run on the roads, and it will be really miserable. It will become very much miserable. Unusual sleep patterns. Many clinicians have heard. The parents keep complaining till 2 o'clock, suddenly midnight getting up and disturbing us, and they are not letting us sleep. These kind of complaints we regularly, whoever already treating autism, they keep listening to this kind of complaints. And unusual eating habits. They don't know where to stop. They don't know their hunger feel only, how much hungry they are having, whether their appetite over or not. So much unusual eating habits also we can see in ASDs. So few suspected risk factors for ASDs I want to mention. Having an immediate family member who is autistic, we can suspect the risk factor. Okay, chances are there the other kid may develop the ASD. And certain genetical mutations and Fragile X syndrome and other genetic disorders. And being born to older parents. Nowadays, we all, after proper settlement in their career, they are getting married. They are not thinking about next generation. If they produce the kids, what's going to happen towards their medical aspects or towards their bright future? It will get disturbed. So after having a proper, very much wealth also, it will be won't useful if our kids are not in the proper health condition. Low birth weight. It is one of the most common thing we are seeing nowadays. Okay, premature birth, where we can say low birth weight we are noticing. Metabolic imbalances and exposure to heavy metals and environmental toxins. Maternal history of viral infections and fetal exposure to the medications and valproic acid and thalidomide, which is nothing but thalidomide. These kind of medications also. And most probably, one more important factor I didn't mention, during carrying, during pregnancy, the mother should not face any kind of stress. It's a very important factor where a lot of disturbances happens after birth. So generally, speech therapy, again, though I have mentioned few headlines, but I always advise, follow your own level of, you have to generate a thought after looking at the kid. You have to observe, you have to know that every day. It's not that single day observation, we are getting a lot of information and we are planning accordingly. It never happens. That is our duty to observe every day what abilities they are acquiring, what abilities they are losing. Based on that, our therapy, every day we have to prepare. That's why I told the therapy plan should be long-term goal. It's not no way short-term goal. It's not going to help anymore. Speech therapy for ASDs, stimulate them with essential words. Yeah. So every speech therapy means the parents, they generally they think we teach, we are showing one flashcard, we are saying apple, ba, pa. So this much aspect we also can do. So there we have to prove our role. Very much innovative role is there. It is not a speech therapy, it is a language therapy. Initial stages, our speech language pathologist plays a major role till 3 years, below 3 years. After that, secondary level characteristics will develop. At that time, we need occupational therapy and many other multidisciplinary team. This point we are really forgetting. Initial stages, parents also not realizing, we are also not bothering. Immediately we are referring to other professionals rather than starting language stimulation, which is going to help very much. Provide a positive reinforcement, which everyone, not only autistics, everyone needs that. Whoever gets positive reinforcement, their actions and abilities will improve. And make weird and animal noises. Generally we know, okay, autistics, they never show interest to this much larger communication. Okay, different sounds, pressure cooker sound, some vehicle sound, some special toys are there, which makes very weird noise. Okay, animal sounds. So these kind of noise to seek interest in them, okay, or else to have a good rapport with them. Then they will easily connect with us. Present them with multiple choices. Yeah. Obviously, based on their ability, if we are saying something and we want the same thing them to do, it never happens. So we have to encourage them with giving a multiple choices. And use their favorite toys and snacks. Obviously, anyone, if they see, look at their interesting object or interesting snack, obviously they will show at least 2 more minutes interest. Okay, similarly, if you see the good food outside, okay, half an hour before only we try to leave the auditorium. So obviously ASDs also, okay, they also show the same nature. Play short in games and engage in the sensory activities, because I already keep mentioning from the beginning, we have to focus on the sensory abilities rather than motor, because they don't have any motor abnormalities. Later, we are forgetting about the sensory aspect. That's why at secondary level, they are developing motor deformities, functional motor deformities. Use communication boards. Yeah, this is going to help very much, because they can point out, their comprehension will improve. It's not that speech therapy always, it's depend on the how much expression they are giving, but it's based on how much comprehension they are getting after listening to a proper therapy session. Based on that only, their vocabulary, their functional vocabulary, their meaningful vocabulary, and after that, they try to join phrase level and simple language aspects will get to develop. Show and teach them facial expressions. Already in characteristic symptoms I have mentioned, they never bothered about our emotions, our facial expressions, they never notice. So that aspect really brings a miracles in them. If somebody properly able to implement and teach them proper facial expressions. Read short stories, because they never try to listen whatever the 15 minutes, if we speak in front of them, out of that 15 minutes, 1 minute only they will try to understand. That short span of attention or that short span of the sensory level of reach, they are autistics. Any mild, maybe severe. In severe, it is a lot of other troubles will be there. But mild autistic also, they never also show interest towards the larger communications. Only short stories means within 1 minute we have to end the story. That short it has to be. Slowly, the time period we can increase. Utilize their interests and encourage socializations. Again, it is definitely if somebody working on socialization factor, they never show any interest. Even they face a lot of trouble if we are taking into marriages, function halls, cinema halls, then they show a lot of restlessness and a lot of fear complex also. And motivate autistic child to behave appropriately. As age grows, their behavior pattern changes a lot. So since the beginning, being a speech pathologist, we should know if we want to make them listen, we have to work on the behavior. Okay, we have to work on the sitting pattern. We have to at least let them move head here and there, but their attention should be on their attention should be especially on our speech, what we are communicating with them. This factor we should not forget. Thank you. Our Honorable President, Dr. Nagendra Kankipati. Without him, we can't dream TASLPA or this TASLPACON. Okay, please stand. I want a big round of applause for him. Okay, very dynamic person leader. He gets senior in several times we tried to unite everyone, but it didn't happen with us, which he made that dream became a true because of him. And one more important person I want to introduce, our Honorable General Secretary, Dr. Imar Khan Ruman. There's a lot of contributions from his side, and today we are very happy sitting and very thank you very much. And third, I want to my dear friend, okay, our advisory committee member, naam ke vaste, but every role he plays. Okay, so Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumar, all-rounder. Okay. Whenever, though he is a very honorable post advisory committee, but at times, if permits, he will become an EC member. At times, permits, he will become a secretary. Apart from president, all the roles he played. And today, our association is like this, means one of the biggest contribution from his side. Okay, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Rajendra. You need always your support. Your energy level is really motivates. Okay, we as a team work a lot, and we are really happy to see all the houseful board in this TASLPACON. And I want to thank all the previous speakers because they have given enough knowledge. Okay, thank you everyone. I am wishing all the best to my dear friend Dr. Sriharsha Tikka Garu, next presenter. Okay, one of the dynamic ENT surgeons in the city. Okay.
Subscribe to our channel, click the bell icon and select all.